Alright, in this video, I want to talk about where I'm at with my relationship with God. It's gotten to the point where I just want to hang out with Jesus. I don't really care about trying to convince people of the truth that they don't want, right? I don't care about sitting there using reason and logic with people who don't care about the truth, right? If they're not receptive to it, okay. And that's why I have this video here, receptive and respect. I've gotten to the point where I'm not going to give a whole bunch of time to people who aren't receptive, because I've been getting into the scriptures and into different views of the scriptures and hearing the arguments, for example, with my series about the silly arguments that come from Catholics and the Orthodox, where I've heard all the arguments for Catholicism and Orthodoxy, and I don't find any of them convincing. I find them to be hypocritical, contradicting, inconsistent, a lot of double standards, right? And yeah, I've heard them all, right? And where I'm engaging with these people, I'm not really trying to get through to them because I know they're not receptive, right? And I know they're arguing with me because their conscience is getting to them and they want to convince me and to prove to me that they're right because their conscience is getting to them, right? So they'll sit there and they'll talk with me until the end of time, even though I'm obviously not receptive to their beliefs, because it's the only way that they can try to quench their conscience about all this. But I'm just taking what they say and I'm making short videos in the series about silly arguments that come from the Catholics and the Orthodox. And I respect their decision, right? And that's where the respect comes in. I respect their decision that they don't want the truth, right? And I respect my time and my peace where I'm not going to get all worked up over these people, especially since a lot of them, that's what they'll end up doing, is they will just try to troll you and provoke you. If you notice some of the comments, the ones that I left up, some of them I just removed because a lot of these people, they just put something like, "This is the dumbest video I've ever heard or seen," right? These arguments are ridiculous, right? They just have a quick one-liner about how they didn't like the video, how it was stupid, the argument was stupid, I was stupid, but they don't talk about it, right? They don't show the error of my ways and show how they're right. They just wanted to come over and spit on my shoes and walk away, right? And why would I want to engage with people like that? They're not receptive, right? I'll even try to get them to look in the mirror and I'll say, "Wow, you really showed me that Jesus Christ is with you." I almost thought that's who was commenting on my channel, was Jesus. Just the humility that you had to take the time to reach out to me and reach me where I'm at and show me the error of my ways and show me how you were right. And then you will, leave another wise-ass comment. And it's like, all right, yeah, I gave them a chance. Not receptive. So it's either stop the conversation there. If they comment more, I remove the comments. Or if I feel the need, just block them. Because I respect their choice. I'm not going to sit there and try to change their choice. They made their choice, right? And they can deal with that. And I would rather have my peace and my time where I'm just resting in Jesus and enjoying his finished work of eternal salvation and knowing that it's not on me to save the world. It's not even on me to save myself. And just to enjoy that. And, live and let live, right? is basically where I'm at with all this. And yeah, because the comments, they just keep pouring in. And I don't want to give my time to that, because what's the point? I've done it for years, and it's fruitless, right? There's nothing that comes out of it except for a waste of time, and maybe the both of you get a little bit annoyed, and that's that, right? I don't want to do that. I would rather enjoy myself and hang out with God and have that peace, right? But these people, they don't respect you, right? So they're just going to keep commenting and being rude, lying about you, misrepresenting you, and then talk about how you got to have good works and you're saved by your works, while they do these manipulative things as if they're a devil, a snake, a demonic spirit, right? And I can't tell if they've just given over to quote unquote the dark side, or they're just oblivious to the way they come across. But yeah, I give my time to the people who are receptive. And when I think about it, I see in the Gospels that Jesus was pretty much the same way. Where with the world, he just gave parables. So they're like, what is he talking about? Right? And they're all confused. But then when he's talking to the people close to him, his disciples, he gets more into it and explains things a little deeper. Right? And that's because they're receptive. They actually care about him. They care about the truth. Right? So he spends more time with them and opens up more. But the average person doesn't care. Right? So be like Jesus and just take a step back. Right? Just give a little crumbs, if anything. And the people who actually are receptive, all right, that's where you really get into this stuff, right? Because you show them some respect. Oh, you want to get more into this? You actually care about the truth? All right, I'll give you that respect of, getting into this stuff with you, getting into the Word and talking about these things, right? Let's really open it up. But if you're not receptive, I want to respect that as well. And I'm not going to try to open things up for you, right? I mean, I guess to wrap this up, since a lot of this has to do with the Catholics and the Orthodox, I would simply say, if you can't really give me a justifiable reason not to be sola scriptura, because basically your only arguments is that look at all the different denominations, and you need the fullness of the truth. I think that's what they'll say. And yeah, that doesn't convince me not to be sola scriptura, right? Just because there's a bunch of other people who claim to be sola scriptura and are either just not, but basically they just disagree with me. They see things different from me. Doesn't mean I shouldn't be sola scriptura. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's kind of like saying, well, look at the Catholics. You split into the Orthodox. So since there's division there, you can't just have, the church being the authority, because look at it, there's a division, right? I mean, it's another silly argument, right? Again, inconsistent, right? Where it applies to you, but it doesn't apply to me, right? It's just mental mind games, right? It takes advantage of the weak and the simple. And the other thing is that none of you know Paul's gospel. And those of you that do, you ignore it and you preach another gospel. And you ignore the fact that Paul said that, hey, if anybody preaches another gospel, even an angel, which would mean even your church, let him be accursed. So you go after these churches that preach a different gospel than what Paul preached, and Paul says that you're accursed and you don't care. So I don't really care what you have to say, right? There was, I remember a couple of, like the Catholics and the Orthodox would say, well, if you really want to know, you shouldn't listen to the people and their arguments online. You should look into it yourself. And it's like, I have, right? And none of it's appealing. None of it's convicting. None of it even remotely sounds logical, reasonable, or any bit true. It all sounds like cult doublespeak, right? And I don't want any part of it. And I respect the fact that you want to. So let's do the same thing. Respect the fact that I don't. All right? Stop pushing your nonsense. All right? I'm not going to you on your YouTube channels or to you on Facebook, on Twitter, on X, or calling you up, texting you, or any of that, or challenging you, any of you, to debates and all this. I'm not coming to you trying to, convert you, right? You're all coming to me. Why? Especially with a lot of you, when you'll say that my arguments and everything are ridiculous or stupid or whatever. All right. Then why bother? Why bother responding? Don't you think everybody else can see that too? That you don't, Do you think everybody else in the world is like too dumb to recognize a stupid argument when they hear it? But anyway, I don't know why, right? Make a video here trying to reason with people that are unreasonable. Because even after this, that they're gonna do the exact opposite and probably push even more hardcore. It's like these Catholics and the Orthodox are like little spoiled children that can't handle being told no. Right? You'd be like, no. And then they just get mad. And even if it was something they didn't even want, like they didn't care about, like they don't care that I'm not Orthodox or Catholic. But then when I'm saying, no, I don't want anything to do with it, now all of a sudden they're like, you have to be now, right? But anyway, I'm done rambling here. I just wanted to talk about my mindset here, because some of these people, I don't know. It's like they want more than what I'm already giving them. And a lot of them, I'm like, I don't care. Like, one of them was like, oh, show me all these records of these other churches or sects or denominations before the 1500s. It's like, no, you can go look at it if you want. I'm not digging it up to give it to you just for you to spit on it and toss it aside and ignore it and say fake news or something like that. I'm not going out of my way, putting that effort into that for you to do that. And then another person made, like, I guess, a response video to some of my stuff. And it was like, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. Right? I'm not interested. Right? I made the videos to show everybody, mainly those who aren't Catholic and who aren't Orthodox, how ridiculous their arguments are. Alright? It's not meant to reach Catholics and Orthodox because they're too prideful and arrogant to even take a moment to even fathom being wrong. Right? They're like, no, impossible. I'm right. Can't be wrong. Church is infallible. This is how it is. And they can't even fathom that their church isn't infallible. Right? They won't even take a moment to entertain the idea because they're so arrogant and prideful. So, yeah, it's not about reaching them. It's about waking up the people outside of those churches to see how ridiculous their claims are, to show how Orthodoxy and Catholicism are just cults, and to show how they're not brothers and sisters in Christ. They go after a completely different gospel. You have to be born again by the gospel, as we're told by Peter in 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 23 through 25. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 23 through 25, yeah. You're born again by the word of God, and that word is the gospel. And they preach a completely different gospel. Right? So they're not brothers and sisters, because what makes us brothers and sisters is being born again into the family of God. But, yeah. I'm done here. I know I said I was done like, I don't know, an hour ago, but I'm done. Thank you for your time and attention. Just wanted to get this off my chest. So, take care. I'll see you in the next one, and may God bless you and yours.